The topic of tonight's forum is creating new pathways to learning. What we're going to talk about tonight is where we've been, which is actually very significant, where we are today, exciting, and super exciting is where we're going to be going. What is clear and very clear is that our world is changing. And as it changes, but our children will be educated differently also.
The title of my session tonight is a look at online and blended learning, expanding the definition of going to school. How school looks very different today in many parts of the country than it does when you and I went to school. Online learning is really it's a form of distance learning. Actually, virtual tends to now have a negative connotation to it. Actually, so like in the industry across the country, we actually try not to use that term as much, because if I said to you, you're going to take a virtual course, for a lot of people that conjures up an image of, well, that's not real. That can't be rigorous. And it's the whole virtual learning and gaming thoughts that we as adults think is somehow isn't educational related. And then with the advent of the internet, now we have the ability to offer learning opportunities where we can engage in a course or engage with a teacher, and not only we're not physically together, we may not even be put together at the same time. Blended learning is sort of an offshoot of online learning. So when we're using the definition of blended learning, and for the purposes of our initiative here in the district, the courseware is digital, but there is a built-in face-to-face component with a teacher. It may not be every day, but it might be once or twice a week. So one of the challenges, quite frankly, when we talk about online learning or blended learning is who's responsible for implementing the adults. And what was our experience? Well, it wasn't that. We know what this is, and it doesn't matter where this is. We get it. We have a context of what it means to go to school. We wouldn't even have to enter the building, and every single one of us could say, I know what's going on right now, and we'd all be right. Because a lot of the ways that we educate students today, frankly, aren't a whole lot different than when you and I went to school. Like, school is structured how? Teachers at the front of the room, students are lined up in chairs. What do? We all learn the same thing at the same time of the day. We're all at that same chapter of the textbook. Or what about a classroom that looks like this? This is actually a school in Yuma, Arizona. So what you don't see is off to the side here is a big, almost like gymnasium type area where teachers do large group instruction. Now on the other side, there's small group instruction. But students actually interact with the digital content. They have their own personalized learning schedules. And the teachers pull them individually as well as collectively to help them through their individual academic pursuits. There's approximately 3 million students in the United States, give or take a couple thousand, that they take their courseware online. Now, of that group, most of them still attend a physical school, but maybe she's taking an AP Calculus course that her local school doesn't offer. We have to rethink what it means to go to school. Make no mistake, she's in class, she's interacting with students, she's interacting with her teacher, she's interacting with content. She's going to school. It just doesn't look like the schools that we've become accustomed to. So who's partaking of these type of options? Well, a good cross-section of pretty much everybody, from like kindergartners to grandmas. Here are some of the reasons why students are engaged in online learning, or blended learning, I should add up there as well. One of the driving forces behind why we in the district want to offer online and blended learning courses is because it can enhance the course selection. We may not offer all the advanced placement courses, or maybe some of the remediation courses that students may need. But should they be denied that if we can give that to them in this type of environment? Certainly flexible scheduling. 26 states have state virtual school programs. New York is not one of them. That does not mean that students in New York do not take online and blended learning courses. There's just nothing at the state level. Actually, right now there are 4 states that actually require participation in online or blended courses to graduate. Every student in Virginia, for example, before they can get a high school diploma, will have to have had an online or blended learning course. This is interesting. 90% of parents want their child in a class where mobile devices are used. It makes it more exciting. It's fun. I mean, it needs to be engaging. It needs to be interactive. So, wrapping up, we pushed a survey out. Some of you may have actually taken it. We wanted to get feedback from our stakeholders, the faculty, the students, and the parents, about just some of these general issues, some of the types of questions we're asking you here this evening. Some quick results here from that. When we surveyed the staff at the high school, 68% had taken an online course themselves. Yet only 3% have actually even taught an online or blended learning course. So that's a pretty large number, particularly when you don't have a history in the district of these courses being offered to. And when we asked them what they liked most about the environment of being an online student, it was convenience and flexibility. We asked the students some questions like, well, how would you rate your skill set in using computers and the internet? Suffice it to say, everything here is either they are somewhat proficient or very proficient, and we had 0.8% of the students, so whatever 0.8% of 128 is, that's how many students who took the survey said they don't know anything about computers. We also asked the students, what's the main reason you use a computer and the internet? Number one, for school assignments and research. Number two, and sometimes you see this as the number one answer, was for social networking. And yeah, there are other categories, games, keeping informed of local news. But again, they're using the technology for educational purposes, whether the teachers are directing them to or not. They're just going to gravitate to it. Have you ever taken an online course? 86% no. Would you be interested? 45% said yes, about 20% said no, about another 38% said they're not sure. That's actually not surprising. If you have no history of taking an online course, you might not be sure. The most important reasons why they would be interested, number one, the ability to take a course not offered at the school. Number two is the ability to work at my own pace, the ability to access a coursework at my own convenience. I thought this was pretty insightful for our students. What concerns do you have about an online course? The number one concern raised was, would they have enough time in their schedule? And then with the last wrapping up, your parents. So again, some of you may have taken this survey. Have you ever taken an online course? 49.1 said yes, 50.9 said no. And for what reasons should the school district initiate online learning? The number one reason parents said was for tutoring, expanding course options for students. We are talking about the opportunity for them to learn differently, expand who their fellow students might be, right? And the opportunity to have learning might, in some cases, maybe be more personalized or courseware that they can't actually get here in the district. And thank you for giving me part of your meeting tonight.
Things really have changed a lot, and students have come to expect that they are going to be engaged, that there is going to be excitement in the schools. What I'm going to do is going to talk about the steps that the district has taken, once again, to prepare us for where we are today and for the future. Moving ahead, we created a digital art lab, Macintosh equipment, and state-of-the-art. And we replaced every desktop and laptop in the district in this 3-year period because they were old. They couldn't run any of the newer software. We completed our 21st century classroom project. What that means is every instructional area in every building, whether it's a classroom or library, has a minimum of one computer that's connected to the internet, that has a projector, that also has an interactive whiteboard, so students can come up and actually take part in the lessons, a DVD VCR receiver with a sound system, so it's a full multimedia classroom. And because we have a projector in each room, it actually is allowing us to do online video morning announcements in our schools. One of the biggest enabling things that we did was we put in the district-wide wireless network. Now just about everybody has Wi-Fi at home and they can get on wirelessly. we didn't have a Wi-Fi network. We had a couple of hotspots here and there, particularly supporting the iPads that were out there already. But now, regardless of where you are in the district, you can get online. The CSH virtual desktop was another huge project for us this past year. What that does is it lets students and staff members too connect to our district and run our software and access their files from home. Obviously, one of our goals is to make learning exciting for the students, make them want to learn. And because of the things that we have done, that the Board of Education has supported over the last 6-7 years, we've been able to build the infrastructure that we need to make all of these things happen.
Now you get to see what the students experience. When students take SATs, the question always is, do you know what your major is, and if so, what will it be? Does anybody know what the #1 major is in Cold Spring Harbor? Business.
Wow.
Business is, 30% of our students declare that they intend to be business majors. And we started to think about what can we do to basically give them something that they really might benefit from and enjoy. And that brings us to a course that we're offering this year for the first time, and it is a virtual enterprise course. Now, virtual enterprise it's an international program. There are 23 districts on Long Island that participate in this program. It's an entrepreneurship program. The students in this class learn how to organize and run a business. And they basically put the entire business plan together, and then in the spring, they get to participate in a regional competition, and they present their business plan to a group of business professionals. So during the year, they actually learn accounting, they learn marketing, and they learn to collaborate, all in an embedded experience. I would like to be the first person to introduce you to the Cold Spring Harbor Virtual Enterprise product, which is CERST. And it's all done virtually, so they are exchanging information, products, ideas, not only with the 23 other school districts on Long Island, but they have also started meeting with local businesses, and they have gotten their first contract with Good to Go Deli. They're going in every day, and they're spending basically an hour and a half running their corporation every day. And it's all because they have the ability to connect with the world, and it's something that is such a different picture than what a traditional classroom looks like. And now I'd like Mrs. Bonino to talk a little bit about the eSpark initiative, which is of course touching many more students this year, but thank you.
I'm going to close by showing you 2 more projects and initiatives that we've been engaged in that I think are also creating new pathways. This summer, we made the decision that we didn't want to fund something that was an individual classroom project. We really wanted to do something that was more systemic and to affect more children across the district. And so we chose several grade levels. We chose 1st grade, 3rd grade, children that received support in 4th grade, 1 7th and 1 8th grade English class, and 1 7th and 8th grade math. And we did that because we really wanted teachers to do 2 things, to be able to collaborate on the work, and we also wanted to do what we talked a lot about tonight, which is differentiate. And when we met with the CEO of this company, eSpark, we really saw that they were able to take the data that we gave them, whatever data we chose to give them, and input it into their program, determine apps that they would put onto iPads for our children, and those apps would be differentiated based on the data that we gave them. And when we met with these people from eSpark, we thought this is exactly what we needed. The other thing we were very impressed with eSpark was how they vet the apps. Their criteria is the app has to be aligned with the Common Core Learning Standards. The app has to be an app that has scaffolding built into it, so that when a student maybe makes an error and gets something wrong, it drops down to something easier, and likewise, if a student is successful at something, it can it registers that and the items can get harder. They also have data tools for teachers and for students. For us, it was the personalized learning, as you can see, which again is about individual goals and about that differentiated learning piece. We wanted them to dip their toe into blended learning, create opportunities certainly for the kids to be independent. I want to show you one other initiative that we're working on that I'm also very excited about, and teachers are. This is something that we're going to be using in 4th grade. What this is a program where children can create their own ebooks. And they not only can create them, but they can have them on the virtual bookshelf as they do on their iPads. So it creates a way for them to engage in something that we call digital writing. So rather than using paper and pen, they're learning how to navigate a different kind of environment, a digital environment. So just like you would have on your iPad, the student can register their book. I'm going to close by saying we would like to expand the iPad initiative with eSpark and the use of the apps with the iPads, and because we want to, of course, enable kids to read their own stories and books that they've written, as well as their peers, and to demonstrate the commitment of the board with the goals that the Board of Education has set this year do encompass and include all of the different initiatives that we spoke about tonight, the personalized learning and the feasibility of the online and blended learning. So